I'm showing how I would style the undressed herb salad. So I've got a selection of herbs in here, and I've picked out different sizes of herbs, and I've put them in ice water for about 10 to 15 minutes so that they really perk up and that the stalk ends curl slightly. I want to keep the stalks on because I like the shape of them, and I've put in quite large herbs and also baby herbs, so we have a nice selection. And in here I've got watercress. So the first thing I'm going to do is take most of these. I'm going to leave some in there that I can dress in later and drain them slightly. This is an undressed salad, but I don't want it to look dry, so I'm not going to dry it off too much. And then I've got watercress. I've picked through it already so that we have nice little bunches. And just going to put a little bit of that in. I'll start with this amount and then I can always add more into it later. It's easier to start with a small amount and add more than it is to take things away. I've picked out the really large watercress leaves as they would just kind of be a little bit overpowering. So I'm just going to mix that together in a bowl, and I'm using my hands quite a lot because I just think it keeps the food quite natural looking. If you use utensils for everything, then things can just look a little bit deliberately placed. Just going to put a little bit more watercress in. I've kept some of the stalks of the watercress on to add a little bit more shape to the salad. So now I'm going to transfer it to the plate, and I'm thinking about the angle of the camera and where the light is hitting. So at the moment this is backlit, but I'm going to show you as if it was lit from this side. So what I would do is just put some of the salad on here. I don't like piling things up in the middle too much because I think that it just looks a little bit fake. We want this to look homemade. So then I start adding things in. Things kind of creeping up onto the edge of the plate are nice. And when I'm using herbs like basil, I think the underside of the leaf is really pretty, so I'll put a few of those around. Another kind of little handful. And I'm sort of piling things up in here, and I'm going to trail it off into there. So that means that the light will hit really nicely and kind of go up the salad. Any kind of things that look a bit too large I'm just taking out. And that's kind of nearly enough on there. Herbs like dill look really pretty and they kind of soften the look of the salad slightly, so I'm putting those in. And here I've got some tweezers which I use for everything like this, any kind of close-up work, because they're a lot more precise than using your hands. Got some coriander there, maybe a little bit more watercress. And if you see any kind of large gaps, I've got some gaps in there, so I'm just filling them in slightly with the softer herbs. Sorry, the dishwasher's gurgling at the same time. Okay, so now I've got feta, radishes and walnuts. So I'll just start off by scattering a few of those over. I've kind of crumbled up the walnuts a little bit already. And when I'm putting things like this over, I don't want to space them apart too much, otherwise they'll just look a bit deliberately placed. So I'm just crumbling them up so that it looks natural, as if we've dressed everything together. And a few little crumbs kind of on the edges look nice. Any kind of crumbs really soften the look or something. And then I've got radishes, and again, I don't want to place them too much around the plate, otherwise they'll look too deliberate. And I quite like with radishes to keep them in little groups together, because it looks then as if you've just sliced them and then you're just mixing them together, because they do stick together quite naturally. And here I'm just thinking about where the light will hit, because they're almost transparent, so when the light goes through them it looks really attractive. So just a few more of those, some more over here. And I always try and prepare little, you know, small things. So I've got small pieces of radish there as well, because they look quite pretty, baby things. So that's probably nearly enough, maybe in there. I'm thinking about the angles of things as well. I want to show off the face of things and also the sides, so you can see the colours really nicely. And I might then just put a few more herbs. If you might want to have a look at it now in front of the camera to see kind of how it's looking. Keep looking in front of the camera as you go along.